Hey guys, what's up? Today I want to talk about Xenoblade Chronicles 2. This is my review. I just finished this game for the first time ever and I have, oh man, a lot to say about it. And I mean a lot. I know I said that in every single review that I do, but this time I really mean it. So, I'm gonna break down this review starting with the positive and then the negative, except the negative part of this video is gonna be called Everything Wrong with Xenoblade Chronicles 2! First of all, I'd like to clarify that I do not finish games that I don't like, which means that if I finish this game is because I liked it, I enjoyed it, I think it's a good game. It's just full of major problems, but we'll get to that in a bit. The first thing I want to say about Xenoblade Chronicles 2, it has incredible pacing. This is a game where, it starts a little bit slow, I haven't played Xenoblade Chronicles X, but the other two games, Torna, which is the prequel to this one, and the original game, Xenoblade Chronicles 1, I'm gonna have to admit that they did not hook me up at the beginning. They had a bit of a slow start. The first 2 hours I was not hooked and I wasn't even sure if I was gonna finish them, and the same thing happened to me with this game. 4 hours later, however, I was enthralled with the game, I was hooked up, and I kept playing it over and over again until I beat it. So the pacing is amazing, how it hooks you up and doesn't let you go until the end, how it's one thing after the other, one event after another and so on. And gameplay wise, it's very fluid, it's very friendly when it comes to navigation and exploration. The game has beautiful world building, a beautiful lore. The writers of this game, of course the main guy was Tetsuya Takahashi, the creator and owner and director of Monolith Soft, the developers of these games. I've been a fan of Tetsuya Takahashi since Xenogears, man, and he's been involved in every single script of every single game he's done in the Xeno series. The closer you get to the end of this game, the more emotional, deep, philosophical and psychological scenes you get, especially about the main antagonists. And that's Tetsuya Takahashi right there, When you start seeing these scenes and watching these dialogues, and reading everything, that's when you say, if you're a fan of Tetsuya Takahashi, if you've played Xenogears or Xenosaga, that's when you say, that's him, that's him, those are his words, that's his style, that's Tetsuya Takahashi. The music in this game is amazing, Yasunori Mitsuda at the helm, other composers were involved, but sometimes when it's Yasunori, you notice it's Yasunori and it's amazing. And finally, the character models of this game, they look great. I mean, if you like fan service, oh man, my man, this is a great game to play. This is the game for you. Yeah, the fan service here, yeah. But anyway, that's Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Those are the positive things. Great game, I liked it, I finished it, and overall I was satisfied. But I do have a lot of bad things to say about this game, and I actually have a list right here on my computer that I'm looking at it right now, and I just can't believe it, I could have done easily a top 10 things wrong with Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Where do I even start? Since the last thing I mentioned was the visuals, let's start right there. This is a 2017 game. I know when this game came out, the Switch was barely 1 year old. But oh man, the frame rate during battle, I'm usually the kind of guy who doesn't mind. I played East 9 on the Switch, I played the definitive edition of Xenoblade Chronicles, the first one on the Switch, I played Shin Megami Tensei 5, I've played several JRPGs that don't look this bad. I mean, the graphics during the cutscenes, and the exploration and whatnot, it looks beautiful, the game looks absolutely gorgeous. But during battle, the frame rate goes down considerably. You can notice it. Sometimes when the frame rate goes down in video games, most people can't notice. And I think in this game, even the average gamer will notice how it looks bad. Including when the characters use their specials or when they use the chain attacks, it just looks pretty bad. But that's the first negative thing that I want to get out of the way because it's not that relevant to me, but in this particular game it just stands out like a sore thumb, like I said. Just like the first Xenoblade Chronicles, this is the definition of where the hell do I go. And this is far worse than the first game. Half of the time I was getting lost. I had to look up a walkthrough several times because I didn't know how to get there. There's a GPS thing, in there telling you where to go, that thing that indicates you where to go, how many steps or how many steps away you are from your destination. And it works like crap in here because this game is a freaking labyrinth. You get lost so easily, and sometimes you're near there and you know where did you go wrong. And this is so frustrating me. I can't stress out this enough because I know it's supposed to be like an open world game, some kind of open world feature in there, but I think it's poorly implemented. It wasn't that great in the first game, that's just my opinion though. In here they kind of killed it, they kind of crossed the line, and it was so frustrating. Didn't ruin the experience for me because thank goodness for the internet, but god damn it, man. It turns out in several occasions that I needed to enter this particular small, hard to spot cave and traverse in the opposite direction for a while and then circle back to finally reach the place you're supposed to go. I mean, if that's enjoyable to you guys, awesome. It's not for me. This is upsetting. And please tell me, why the hell do I need field skills to progress with the story? Why are you locking my progress, with some lame-ass field skills? Why is this necessary? Sometimes I needed to open this door or open this elevator, and I was required level 3 focus, level 2 electric mastery, level 5, wind mastery to do this and that. Isn't this kind of supposed to be more for like secret locations? And it is. It is that way too, several secret locations are locked with the field skills. But why are they necessary to progress with the story? I don't understand. And the things you gotta do to increase these field skills, they aren't that annoying, but still, it's tedious, it's unnecessary. Why is it done like this? Who came up with this? Who thought this was a good idea? It just interrupts the flow of the gameplay, how I'm almost there, and all of a sudden, boom! No, you need to level up these field skills of these particular characters, in order to progress with the story. I know this is like a thing in the Xenoblade games already, after having playing all of them except X. I noticed that they are fans of Monster Hunter. There's a lot of really tough enemies around, but sometimes they get in the way too often. They did not get in the way that often in the first game. They did kind of get in the way in Torna, that I played first. But in this game, they just went overboard with that, Why did you put that extremely high-level monster right in the middle of the road that I need to cross to reach my destination? Why is he there? I'm level 12 and the monster is level 50. He one-shots me. The game also has this weird skill tree system, how it grows, how it unlocks depending on your actions or where you visit or the materials you get. No wonder there were so many stores in the game that I didn't know about at first. I was like, why is there a dessert store, a food store, or a bread store, or a music store, or a bookstore? Was all of this necessary, And some of these things are required to unlock more skills. I was like, okay, it didn't hinder my progress, but why was it done like this? What was the point? And the last thing I want to talk about before we move to everything wrong with the story and characters is the combat. The basic combat is great. I didn't have a hard time understanding the basics of it. Each blade has assigned to it 4 different attacks, and even in there, the game tells you what they do. So this is a game that it's very easy to get into, but the combat, is so hard to exploit. It's not hard to understand, it's hard to exploit. And this is a hard game, man. It's not like hardcore Octopath Traveler Shin Megami Tensei 5 level, but it's very challenging. Way more challenging than its predecessor. You start with one blade and eventually you unlock a second one, and then finally you unlock a third one, a third spot too. So in order to use 3 blades per party member. And let me say it once again, I love the combat, but I love the basics of it. How it got so convoluted, I eventually got to a point where I was reading about orbs and because I got stuck in a couple of boss battles and I was like, how do I defeat this person? How do I defeat this enemy? And I looked up online, and I was like, what are these people talking about? What orbs? What this elemental stuff, I was like, what's this? So once again, was this necessary? Was it so necessary to complicate the battle system? It was great in the first game. Have these guys never heard of the phrase, of the quote, if it ain't broken, don't fix it? Then why did they feel that they needed to do something completely different and so convoluted and complicated for the player to exploit? I just don't understand that. And the blade system, oh my god, the blades, we need to talk about the blade system because getting these rare blades and these common blades from these common core crystals or whatever, it's like, what's the point, I'm getting all of these extremely generic blades all the time that do nothing for me except going to the mercenaries missions that give me items, I guess, there's something useful about them. But my biggest complaint is, why do you have a guest character, Cosmos from Xenosaga, an extremely popular and beloved character? Why do you put that character in your game when she's so freaking hard and almost impossible to get? It depends almost 100% on luck, on RNG. I mean, it just escapes my mind how you tell people, we're gonna have this amazing character, the best, the most popular character in the entire Xeno series, playable in Xenoblade Chronicles 2, but to get her, it's so impossible. It's just ridiculously stupid in my opinion. And now that we're heading towards the story, let's start with that, everything wrong with the story. This is a Xeno game. I mean, I come from playing Xenogears, Xenosaga, Xenoblade Chronicles the first one, and even Torna. All those games with incredible story, incredible writing, and the fan service is kind of humbling there. Sure, there's some sexualization ever since Xenogears, but the fan service has always been like that, and the silliness, and the jokes, and the humor, has always been kind of a side thing. The main focus of all Xeno games that I've played has been kind of, dramatic, serious, philosophical, deep, analytical, dark, and in this game, they just went completely nuts with fan service and with the silliness. Up to the point where it's so hard to take it seriously. Up to the point where most of those dramatic scenes were extremely predictable. That character that dies in the game, I kind of knew for a fact he was going to die, and at the end he died. And this other character did this, and then Homura gets kidnapped, and yeah, it's just... Don't take me wrong, guys, I love fan service as much as you do, and this was a very pleasant visual experience. But this is a Xeno game. I mean, is this a Xeno game or a Neptunia game? Or is this a compiled hard RPG? I mean, what the hell were they trying to do? It's like this game has no identity of its own. And one of the worst things about this game is how the people who localized it changed a lot of names. Oh yeah, Pyra? Pyra? No, that's not her name. Her real name is Homura. Mithra? No, her real name is Shikari. How did I find out about this? Well, it was pretty easy because the game does not come with the Japanese dub. I don't know why you're supposed to go to the Switch Online store and download it. Why is it a DLC? Why wasn't it originally included in the game? Because the voice acting in English in this game it's not terrible, I can cite at least 10 or 15 JRPGs more where the voice acting in English is far worse, but this is bad. Some actors did a decent job in this game, but most of the others kind of sound soulless, bored, like they were just reading lines for the sake of it, for money. There's no passion whatsoever. Nia, for example, I think the actress did a terrible job, she sucks balls, and I was starting to hate Nia until I downloaded the Japanese dub, and wow, I ended up loving Nia. But why did they change so many names? So many of them. Malos? No, that's Mets. Jin? No, that's Shin. Why would you change Shin to Jin? Rex, Tora, and Nia are the only ones who kept their original names, I think, because the 88% or 90% of the other characters, any other characters, even that one guy that only appears for like 5 seconds in the game, they changed the name. And they changed the name of locations, of the titans, of things, why? I mean, once again, was that really necessary to change everything? It's 2017, I get it in the 90s, stupid-ass Western people, North Americans and Europeans didn't like the names changed. They couldn't understand things like Homura or Hikari. But this is 2017 when a game like Persona 5 uses every single name in Japanese, and people are fine with that. They don't care, and in fact, they like it. Why did you change the names of the characters? The last thing I want to say about this game is in relation to Torna, the Golden Country, the prequel. So I want to talk about the character Laura. Laura, even though she's pronounced as Laura. The same way it's pronounced in Japanese, it's pronounced in Spanish, Laura. So Laura is a character that I freaking loved in Torna. She was my favorite character, and I really think she would have been a much better protagonist than Rex. Rex is fine, but he's just very generic, the classic guy who wants to protect everybody, and when someone dies, he blames himself for not protecting everybody, and then the power of friendship at the end saves the day. I mean, Rex is fine, but it's like the power of friendship classic trope. Laura is a little bit like that too, but she's more... I mean, she's a very well-developed character. Laura dies at the end of Torna, but we know that if you played Xenoblade Chronicles 2 first, you already know that. But the upsetting thing is that she's there in a crystal the whole time in Xenoblade Chronicles 2. So Shin is planning to resurrect her, to bring her back. He's gonna do something about it. Laura is gonna come back. No, my man, she fucking dies at the end with the ship, and no more Laura. She was dead all along. They teased us the entire time, putting Laura in. What was the point? What was the point of putting Laura in that crystal, you know? What was the point? She died at the end. What a totally wasted opportunity, completely wasted potential. If a character is dead in one game, leave her dead. Don't tease the player, don't give us the expectations, you know, that she's gonna come back. But anyway, that's just me being a huge Laura fanboy. So that's everything wrong with Xenoblade Chronicles 2. I'm pretty sure there's more. Shoot in the comments if you want to, or if you want to stand up for this game. Do it. Remember, I finished the game, which means I liked it. I don't finish games that I don't like, and you guys know that. So if I finish this game, it's because I enjoyed it. So despite all of the flaws that I just mentioned, I still think this is a good game. I do recommend it. But this, despite being a great game, this is the worst Xenoblade game ever. Well, Torna might be a little bit worse because of the community level BS. Thanks for watching, don't forget to subscribe and share this video with your friends. See you next time!